In your life, you've probably had a few conflicts or fights with someone. A lot of time it's over something important, something that you hold dear to your heart and is important to you. Sometimes it's about something stupid, a video game, a particularly loud airborne event, or in my case, over a single piece of blue Lego. But none of these compare to the ridiculous, well, except for the Lego one, of the War of Jenkins Ear. This war, fought from 1739 to 1748, was a conflict between the British and Spanish empires. It started because on one day in 1731, Robert Jenkins said before Parliament that the Spanish had amputated his own ear because of discovered illegal things on a ship. Per legend, Jenkins actually held out Okay, let's just pass for the sake of YouTube. We're just gonna move on. This war took the lives of 30,000 people, and it was commenced by one severed ear. Anyways, before we get on with the video, this video took a lot of time. 3 hours for researching and scripting, 1 for recording, and 5 for editing. If you could hit the sub button, it would help me stay motivated to make these videos. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Robert Jenkins, a Welsh master mariner, one day pulled up a ship named the HMS Rebecca. When searched, smuggled goods were found. As a punishment, either Juan de Leon Fandino or Lieutenant Dorsey said, "Pardon mi español, cortarte el orejo." And they used their swords to swipe off his ear. Little did they know this would lead to one of the most weird confrontations in British-Spanish history. Meanwhile, when this was happening, tensions were rising between Spain and Britain. Spanish claim in America, namely Florida, and that area were eating up the British trading and shipping routes, and were very harsh with the restrictions, such as giving the punishment of cutting someone's ear off, of course. Tensions got to a height when Britain created Georgia, which the Spanish thought was a threat to Florida and something to guard to their monopoly of that area of trading. Britain and Spanish magazines, political experts, and newspapers were calling for blood. And it all boiled over when Jenkins, in 1738, came before Parliament. For all my American viewers, it's basically the British version of the Senate. He told in gory detail what happened that day, and per legend showed his ear. Again, I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm gonna head out. After hearing this, British Parliament were like, "Did I say there was a war? A new war! Woohoo!" It was a call for them to get out of their little chairs and do something. And they sent their troops out to Florida, and only when they got there, and had been fighting, declared war the day after they got there and started fighting. Many battles were fought in the area around Florida and the Spanish claim in that area, and filtered all the way down to nowadays Colombia and went up to Georgia. These battles was the first attack on Cartagena de Indias. General Edward Vernon, an important general in the war, realized that Cartagena de Indias was an important asset to the Spanish repertoire of trading ports. To gain information of the fortifications and defenses, he launched an attack at it, trying to gain information. The Spanish general there was too smart for it, and told his troops to act weaker than they were to deceive Vernon. Vernon sent his troops, which were pushed back, and ultimately ended in a draw with not a lot discovered for the British side. Later, in 1741, he tried to organize a fleet that would be able to travel around and destroy anything they sought to. To acquire this fleet was a logistical nightmare, understandably, as they had to move many boats across the Atlantic. It created a lot of problems for them. An interesting fact is that George Washington's older brother led a fleet that would help from Virginia. In total, when they gathered all the ships, the ones from Britain, Virginia, and all around Central America, it totaled to be 180 ships and 27,000 men. This might not sound like a lot, but it would probably be around a mile in width from end to end, maybe even more than that. They invaded together on the 13th of March, 1741, when they fired at the Fort de San Luis de Boca Chica. Sorry about my pronunciation there. British tried to push their way in, firing guns at the heavily fortified city. With the incredible power that they held, they were able to cut through the defenses pretty easily. The Spanish were able to push them back, but only just. It's been on and on, the fortification was deteriorating day after day. Finally got through and got to the fort. After this, they moved on to other towns, cities, ports, and forts, pillaged many, even with the tough defenses. Yellow fever, a lack of supplies, and other illnesses started to brittle the British side, though. Even with his successes, Ferdinand was replaced with Chandler Ogle. Britain also had a change of heart, too, as in 1743. The war started to move into a larger conflict called the War of Succession, which was a fight between Prussia and Austria over Silesia. Eventually, other European powers, including Spain and Britain, entered the war. This war was more important to the two competing sides, so the war in the Americas kind of died out of relevancy. After the sizzle and the death of Philip V, which brought his brother in, negotiations of a peace treaty began between Britain and Spain. This document stopped most of the smuggling that Britain did and stopped the British adventurers in the Caribbean, and improved relations between the countries for a bit. This war was an important part of history, even with its dumb name. While it started with one severed ear, it ended in a diplomatic agreement that changed trade in the Americas for many years. Before we go, when I was editing, I found a really interesting fact that George Washington brothers had named his estate Mount Vernon after his commander Edward Vernon. That is why Mount Vernon is called Mount Vernon. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and see ya. Have a great day.